channel. My name is Veronica. Of course, I have Lou here with me.
Hello.
We're fighting. It does stay pretty lit in Montana, but the lighting is a little bit darker over where Lou's at, so.
And I'm just dark skinned.
And he's deeper than me, so y'all are just gonna have to deal. But I didn't want to come on here and make another video without addressing everything that's going on. I know a lot of you guys may or may not know what's going on. You should by now, but I just thought I can't come on here and just film and post another like get ready with me or interviewing military people. I need to address the situation, so we're gonna go ahead and get into prayer and then start eating. We have Buffalo Wild Wings, so I don't know what thumbnail we'll do. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Is there a napkin in there though? To give you anything?
Oh yeah. To kick it off, by the way, we have buffalo. We were supposed to have buffalo chicken wraps. Buffalo Wild Wings didn't do any of it, right? So, and it really wasn't that hard.
Let's just hold these up.
But we have buffalo chicken wraps. You guys know I haven't been eating chicken, so this will be interesting. But I needed, you know, we were gonna do KFC, but KFC was all the way out the door, and I really wanted a pot pie, and I take the chicken out and eat it. It's so good. Okay, so how do we get in? I don't even know how to get into this.
Well, first let's pray.
Oh yeah.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this food we're about to eat and receive right now. Let it be nourishment to our bodies, God. Also, let the words that we speak, let them be beneficial and express our heart and the things that is on our mind, and just give us wisdom and knowledge and everything that we do and say. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. I went to take a sip and I realized, Veronica, I don't even know what to really say. I'm just really frustrated. I'm very upset. Obviously we've had countless killings, and I think the biggest thing to start off with, it's not black people versus white people, it's us versus racism. It's a country versus racism. That's how you should be viewing it. I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, especially because I have a lot of non-black friends just because of everywhere I've been stationed with my family. And so I'm sure they're kind of confused on what to say. And even this past Sunday in church, you know, we go to a predominantly white church, and the pastor addressed it, but he didn't even know what to say. And it's okay if you're not black and you don't know what to say. But what's not okay is that we're gonna continue to just pretend like it's not going on. That's not okay. And so all of these celebrities and influencers and companies over here using Black Lives Matter for a trend, or George Floyd, I can't breathe, all that stuff for trending, like, your true colors are clearly identified. And I've unfollowed quite a bit of people since this incident has kicked off. It's unfortunate, you know, and not only that, but I'm also working, you know, you guys know I'm in the military, and if you don't follow military leadership, our Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force just released a beautifully written, open-ended Facebook post that addressed everything. And it's basically, who am I? I just happen to be a black man, you know, who happens to be in the Air Force, essentially. And then he goes through everything, what they're doing. So not only did we have racism happen, but a study just came out showing that the Air Force discriminates against black airmen. And that means all of us severely. And so they're also, in that post, Chief Wright said they're doing an overhaul of the military judicial system along with General Goldfein. And so, and General Goldfein just posted something as well. I haven't gotten the chance to read his, but it's crazy to me that we're even dealing with this. It's crazy to me that I have to feel like I can't say anything because of what I do. But just seeing Chief Wright lead from the front and making it and showing everyone, no, it's okay. You're a black man, you're a black woman. and your feelings are valid and what's going on is wrong, and we need to do better as leaders. And so I sent an email to everyone who works underneath me, basically echoing what he said, and I linked it and told them they need to go read it. I don't know if they did, I hope they did, but we're not gonna just sit here and pretend like nothing's going on. I don't operate like that, and especially when it's affecting my population. And so it does make me a little bit nervous, because Lou and I are literally going to be driving through those affected cities with the rioting and everything going on. And honestly, I've been seeing a lot of police brutality still, when it shouldn't be that way. Now, I don't know if, you know, people who are peacefully protesting, if it turns into that, but from what I've seen, it's all been peaceful, and then the police come and some of them are inciting violence. Again, I'm not going to say all of them, because, you know, we know great cops, we know, you know good cops, you know good military people all around, but now you have people, the National Guard out there and the police out there, who are shooting rubber bullets at people. And so it gets hard, you know. I don't even know what to say. And I have had people underneath me and people who just see me around, who are airmen, lower ranking airmen, come and ask me my thoughts, and they honestly just don't feel like they don't know if they should serve anymore, because they don't know if they're protected. And that's sad, because it's like, at some point, I don't even know what to say too, you know, without getting myself into hot water. And I shouldn't even have to think like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get in trouble, you know, because I still love my job. I still love the Air Force. I still like to do what I do. And the reason I do it is because I want to make sure I get up to that rank where you're going to see my face and hear my voice, and I am going to be a part of that difference. But it's so frustrating when you have incidents like this go on, and you feel like you're being oppressed again, and that you can't say anything when that isn't the case. But it's basically perpetuated and systematic oppression that makes us feel like we can't even speak up when we see our own black brothers and sisters hurting, which isn't true. So that's kind of how I feel. I know Lewis is eating, but
no, it's fine. I think it's important to understand the context of what we're dealing with, and many times our dear white brothers and sisters, they don't understand the context, so they'll change the narrative when they see things they don't like let's say rioting and the looting. Since they don't understand the context, they'll change the narrative in that they you know, they'll focus only on that, and they'll take their focus off the main issue. Because here's the interesting thing. There's only, of all the black people, there's 40 million black people in the United States, approximately. So with that, all the peaceful protests that we've seen, there's a few, a sample size of those who are rioting, looting, and doing all that. All right, and then many of our some white people. I don't say white people, because there's black people out there who are trying to change the narrative too. But they're focusing in on that, and they're saying, see, look, this is what happens. There's people out here rioting. Don't destroy your own communities. This, that, and the other. Well, think about that for a second. If a small sample size can distract and destroy a whole movement, what do you think a small sample size of racists in the military, in the police department, do when we have situations like this? So the same thing can go the opposite direction. I can say, well, the small sample size of people who are racist that have infiltrated our governmental positions and jobs, destroy the whole narrative of those good cops, good military servicemen, government officials, politicians, whatever the case may be. So if you're going to do that, you know, be balanced in your approach. Yeah. Be balanced in the things that you say. I would even have to say, when you see stuff like that, understand that there's always going to be opportunists. There's people who are sitting at home. You know what I'm saying? Not protesting. They don't have nothing to do with it. They want nothing to do with it. And then all of a sudden, you know, they see the looting happen, they out the door. They're like, oh, I'm gonna give me a TV, give me some new shoes, some new Nikes, whatever the case may be.
That's a good point.
Because they were opportunists. So why would you sit there and focus on that and change the narrative and get the focus off what people are really out there for? If you know that, if you're smart, you know there's opportunists. So the fruit of rioting, a symptom that comes with rioting is looting. Guys, it's what happens. So whenever you see a riot, just know there's going to be some opportunist out there who's waiting to throw a brick through a window of a store to go get some free stuff. We know that. That's been around for years. So don't be so quick to change the narrative and get your focus off those who are doing the right thing, those who are peacefully protesting, those who have boots on the ground, the activists who are trying to incite change and not violence. All right. So that's one of the main things, is that I want people to stay focused on what the real issues are. All right. And context is important, because yes, there are protesters out there and activists who are like, you know, the violence is what it is, you know. And people talk about, let me say this. People talk about the Martin Luther King, how they marched in the 60s and they changed the world. First of all, get some context of that too. Because yes, Dr. King, they did great. The civil rights movement, they marched. 5 minutes later, they had dogs sicked on them. They had clubs beating them upside the head. They had water hoses on them. All right. This generation is not the we shall overcome generation. All right. The generation that you see protesters now is, you know, knuck if you buck. That's what these are people who go to clubs, who have gang affiliations and things like that. The generation who grew up on F the Police and NWA, right? So don't expect them that when you try to hit them or throw gas and all that, that you don't expect some of your police cars to get blown up. This generation fights back. That's the harsh reality of protesting in the 21st century, is that if police officers come and they come ready to assert their authority and be macho men and not trying to bridge the gap, work with the protesters and things like that, this is what you get. This is what you get. It is a harsh reality. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying you have to understand your generation so you can speak to them the right way. So don't expect these young kids to come out here when they see a white cop with a knee on a guy's neck for 8 minutes and watch the life leave his body and expect it's gonna be all copacetic. We just go march and hopefully something gets done. No, that's not how that works nowadays. It's not. And when we can understand the context of the generation that we're dealing with, we can do better. That's generally my main thoughts on it. But people, and so we got to understand that there's people who have there are racists in this world. If you think that racism doesn't exist, then you're just, at this point, you're just being naive, you know,
and ignorant.
So we have to understand that there are racists in the world, and racism has infiltrated. There are racist people in politics. There are racist people in the government. There are racist people in the military. There are racist people who are police officers. All right. So how do we weed them out? That's a question that really is outside of my pay grade. But one thing I do know is, once the protesting stops, once we're out of the moment, what's next? Because this is what happens, is that we get out of the moment, and then all of a sudden, you know, we fall back into our normal lives, our normal day to day, and then we get fatigued. We get fatigued about what is going on, and we forget, we get back to our normal lives. No, what you need to do is, once the moment is over, okay, you need to be in your police chief's ear and say, what kind of training are you getting done for these individuals out here? How are you weeding out the bad ones? All right, because they're in there. So if you're not in your police chief's ear, if you're not signing petitions, listen, you need to make it so uncomfortable for your mayors, senators, governors, people who represent you, to make it so uncomfortable where they can't sleep at night until they do better for the people. And if they don't want to listen to you, you know how you voice your opinion? You go vote.
Yep.
Vote them out. All right, vote them out. Vote people in. Vote people in who's going to be a voice for all the people, not just the ones who got the money and live in suburbia. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
You need to vote in officials who care about the marginalized, care about poor people, and who is not just keying in on 2 or 3 issues. Yes, abortion is wrong. Yes, some people, you may disagree with homosexuality. That may be your thing. You may disagree with abortion and all those types of issues. But what after that? Because this is what I have with evangelicals, and particularly white evangelicals. This is kind of the issue I have with them, is that they'll scream about abortion, they'll scream about homosexuality, but they won't scream about the plight of the poor. They won't scream about the marginalized. They won't scream about black issues. All right. So if you're gonna scream about abortion, you need to scream about people like George Floyd, because pro-life is pro-life, not just pro in the womb. And a lot of times we miss that, and then I don't want to go into that because I know she works for the military, and then so I'll just leave it at that,
please,
because I don't want nobody to get in trouble. But yeah, there's your politicians need to be working for all the people in their communities. If they are not, if you show up to the city hall meetings, show up to the town halls, let there be standing room only. If they are not working for you, get them out. Period. Get them out. We have done, as the black community, a horrible job with voting and allowing people who don't care about our plight to stay in office.
Because we don't vote.
We got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. All right. So that's really my main takeaways from a lot of it.
And I noticed too, I think another issue I have is people are like, oh my gosh, I hate that there's protesters, and I defriended those people. Protesting is a right. There is nothing wrong with protesting. When it starts to go left is when violence erupts and all that stuff, and there's many things that can cause that. But for people to condemn protesting and associate it with Black Lives Matter, you need to stop. That's wrong. The rioting and the looting, actually, from what I've seen, are a lot of non-black individuals, not from that area, looking to just do whatever they want to do, like Lewis said, and they're throwing bricks through windows and doing stuff like that. We don't condone that. However, for you to associate it with the protests going on because of we're tired of racism, and I'm talking about everyone, not just the black community, but everyone is tired of racism who is out there protesting. That is their right. That is our right. That's what we fought for. And I'm going to peacefully protest if there's a peaceful protest event. And we recently went to one in Montana, and I always say Montana because it's like, you guys know where I'm at, so Montana, and it was actually really peaceful, super peaceful. Of course, we had people driving down the road with Confederate flags, flipping us off, saying only white lives matter and that we are the problem. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they were out here. Yeah, don't fool yourself. They out here. So for those who are saying, well, I don't believe in, racism, I don't believe people are just racist nowadays, and we live in America in 2020, there's no racists out there. Come to Great Falls, Montana, and do a Black Lives Matter rally and watch them come out. Because we've seen it with our own eyes. So if it's in Great Falls, faces,
yeah, to our faces. And so if they are out here, then they're everywhere. This is a small piece of the United States. So if they're out here,
and the KKK headquarters are here in Montana.
I didn't know that.
They are.
So if they're here, then where else do you think they're at? And it amazes me that people fly Confederate flags in non-Confederate states. I just don't get that. And that tells me you don't know the history. They sell them on
the street here, Confederate flags.
So that tells me that you're overt racist. You're overt racist because this is not even a Confederate state. You know, I can understand. I really don't, but I can understand if I go to a Confederate state and I see Confederate flags because people believe in the history of the Confederacy and all that. Fine, but when it's not, when it's actually not in a Confederate state, you're overtly telling people I'm racist.
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
Wrong.
Yeah.
It's literally illegal. You can't say stuff like that to people.
So.
And I was, you know, I was a little bit disappointed to see that, you know, because for those all white males, by the way, for those guys to sit there and disrupt a peaceful.
There were white women out there too.
No, I'm saying the ones who drove.
Oh, the ones who drove. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought you were talking about that group.
No. So, Lewis, so for those guys to sit there and drive through a peaceful protest, flipping us off, yelling racial slurs out the window, like, come on. So for people, the reason why I get so angry, it's like, when I see people not posting, and they don't have to post, people post in their own way or do whatever they want. But when I see people kind of justify it or say that's how they were raised, or, you know, you can't fight hate, or you can't turn them, that's just how they are, just leave them alone, or just accept it. No, we're tired. I'm tired. The nation's tired. Enough is enough. To the point where it's not even just America rioting and protesting anymore. It's worldwide because it's disgusting. And
yeah, you got protests, crazy New Zealand. There was one in like Australia, Berlin. Like this is for real.
Because black people don't just exist in America. There's black people in Berlin. There's black people in the UK. There's black people in Australia. There's black people everywhere.
Let me say this too.
We're tired.
Let me say this too.
I'm tired.
And I want you all to hear my heart, because I don't want this to come off the wrong way. If you are silent, you are part of the problem. And let me explain that before people jump and say, well, it's the difference when you don't have the words to say, or, you know, or whatever, you just kind of mute because you like, I don't really know how to address it. Because there's a few things you still can do. You can reach out to an African American black individual and say, okay, hey, educate me on why you guys feel the way that you feel. There's things you can do. You can have conversations. You can put on forums. You can go to forums. You can DM people. DM me. If white people want, DM me. If you understand, I'll educate you. I'll let you know what I had a great conversation with one of my dear white friends this morning. Just about, hey man, let's just give me some context. When y'all say systematic racism, what do you mean? Because when I hear systematic, and he gave me his opinion, his opinion and thoughts, and I gave him mine, and we kind of walked away from the conversation having a kind of have a mutual understanding of each other. We need more of that. But if you're just silent because you're like, I don't want to get into it, you're part of the problem. Mm-hmm. You're part of the problem, because what you're saying is, I don't feel like this issue is important enough to say anything about. That's what you're saying. All right. Also,
it kind of frustrates me though, because it's 2020. Like, what do you mean you don't know what to say? Do your research.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But at the same time, there's another group out there who they wasn't saying nothing. And this is part of, I don't really have too much of an issue with the silence, because I know there's some people, it is a matter of courage and a matter of just having the words to say.
Yeah.
So
got it.
So there's some people who just don't have the courage, because even though they feel deeply about it, they just don't have the courage because they don't want to get into debates and all that on their social media and stuff like that. And I get it, because there's sometimes I want to post something, I just don't do it because I don't feel like debating nobody.
Same.
So I get those individuals.
Got it.
At the same time, you need to be doing something. Saying something, doing something. All right. So, but my bigger issue is with those people who are silent throughout the whole process. Arbery, Breonna, Floyd. But then once the rioting and looting starts, they have a lot to say.
Yes, I fear for my husband's life when he goes throughout the door. We fear for our lives every single minute of every day. I fear for his life all the time, and all he's doing is driving while black. So I don't want to hear it, to be honest.
So I take issue with those individuals who's trying to play devil's advocate but have nothing to say about the issue at hand, which is
their very first post.
Their first post is playing devil's advocate. Well, destroying your communities is not the answer. Okay, first of all, let me educate y'all on that. You can't expect a people to respect communities that they don't feel is theirs in the first place. Why is that? Because if they agitate legislation and nothing continues to, and it's the same things that keep happening, why would they respect the community that they don't feel is theirs? In order for them to have some kind of attachment to their community, they have to feel this is ours. When we speak, they listen. That's not happening. So you can't expect people not to go off when this stuff keeps happening because they're not being listened to.
Yeah.
It's common sense. So for those of you who keep posting the rioting and stuff is not right, Dr. King, they didn't do all that. Think about it. They were listening to Dr. King.
Yeah.
They were Dr. King had the ear of the president and some of these officials.
And Dr. King also said that rioting is the
voice of the unheard.
Of the unheard. How many years have we been trying to get rid of slavery? How many?
And here's the thing about Dr. King.
Racism.
Here's the thing about Dr. King. Love him. He's great for the historical progress of our communities. But don't forget, there was another man around the same time who had a different approach. Malcolm X, who was just as influential and just as pushing our communities forward as well. So we focus so much on Dr. King, but it was a combination of any means necessary and nonviolence that got people's ear, because the police department was afraid of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. They feared him because they thought he had too much power, and then they was able to turn the Nation of Islam on him and all that. So don't get it twisted. The reason we was able to progress because there was a combination of both. Those who were saying enough is enough, we're gonna do it our way, but also those who are saying, okay, we can be nonviolent, we can get them to hear us. All right. So the only reason we highlight Dr. King, the only reason people highlight Dr. King is because he did a nonviolent way, and that's what, for majority, that's what we want. We want nonviolence. We don't want violence. We get that understanding. But understand, today's generation is the seeds of Malcolm X. They're like, okay, I'm not, thank God for I have a dream, but I'm not dreaming right now. I'm trying to blow something up. They're not hearing us. All right? So context is important.
Yeah.
Education is important. Stop running those individuals. The moment you see looting and rioting, stop letting that be your first post. If anything,
posting videos of the people doing it. Y'all don't need to be doing that.
If anything, you should your first post. If you just happens to be your first post around that time, which is mind-boggling to me. If it just happens to be. What you should be saying is, though I don't agree with it, but you know what? When people are not being heard, when the community is not being heard, what do you expect?
Yeah.
What do you expect?
When they're tired and fed up, and tensions didn't just happen because of George Floyd. If you look up Black Lives Matter, all of the victims are on there, and tensions were already high.
We're going back to Rodney King, y'all. That's what we're going back to.
Already high.
Rodney King. That's what we're going back to. Things have not changed since Rodney King.
Sorry, we're fighting the sun.
Yeah, but this is not nothing new, y'all. We're going back to Rodney King. Those officers was able to beat Rodney King to a pulp, and all of them got off. Now I was alive. I was young, but I was young enough to remember. But I was alive during the Rodney King riots, and I will say it was bad, but now today's it is nothing compared to that. That's why I get nervous when Los Angeles, when they begin to riot, because Los Angeles tends to kind of take it too far to the point where people end up dying. Now I want to be sure about this, and I should have said this earlier in the video. Those who are running over cops, those who are blowing up stuff and blowing up cop cars and all that.
Why?
Please stop. All right. There's no point in that. Now, at the same token, those cops who are abusing their power
and running people over,
driving through crowds, gassing people who just, this video of people just standing there protesting, not even after curfew, gassing. I forgot where I almost said something about some individual, because they had to clear away. So they people who wasn't even curfew yet, they had to clear away for somebody, and they gassed them when they wasn't doing anything wrong. Tear gas when they wasn't doing anything wrong. They were protesting, fine, but they had to clear away for this individual, so they illegally used force against them. That's a problem too. That first of all, that's illegal. That's illegal. I've seen so much of people getting shot in the head with those rubber bullets and things like that. All this has got to stop.
Lost her child. She got shot in the stomach with a rubber bullet. I mean, this is just.
They gassed a pregnant lady in the car who wasn't doing anything.
And to those and for people who are like, oh my gosh, there's black on black crime, y'all need to stop. We know that because those two officers who drugged those kids out of the car for just literally trying to make their way home were fired by Atlanta police.
Okay,
and they were black. Two out of the 6. And the rest of them got fired too.
Let me address black on black crime. You should probably put this in a snippet. But let me address black on black crime, because for those who want, and particularly white people, before you address black on black crime, please address the issue of why mass shooters and school shooters don't look like us. Because
and it's history. Because
y'all quick to say, well, look at black on black crime. Okay, first of all, get some education. There's something called approximation, which means that whatever's in your proximity tends to happen, right? So whites kill whites, Hispanics kill Hispanics, blacks kill blacks. Why is blacks numbers higher? Because gang violence approximates most of our communities, right? So is it a problem? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's only because we have gang violence. So when you say black on black crime, it's because of what's in proximity of our communities. So stop using that as, because your whole argument falls flat. And it falls flat because by the numbers, generally, white people kill more people in general. Why? Because school and mass shooters don't look like us. I'm sorry. They don't. But y'all don't want to bring that up. And y'all always want to attribute bombings. Yeah, and y'all always want to attribute to mental illness. That is an issue. It is an epidemic in our community. But at the same time, you got to deal with that. Mm-hmm. If we got to deal with black on black crime, y'all got to deal with why mass shooters, school shooters, people bombing marathons and things like that don't look like us. So stop it. That's a weak argument. Stop bringing it up.
And I just want to annotate, and it has nothing to do, of course I'll readdress this because, and I feel like I do need to readdress it because there are a lot of non-blacks, not just whites, but non-blacks too, who don't know what to say, and they think that when we're posting, and I'm saying we're as a community, that we're talking about everyone. We're not talking about everyone. Again, it's not a black versus white issue. It's a black versus racism issue right now.
Or police brutality.
Or police brutality.
There are some black officers who abuse their power.
Absolutely. The Atlanta cops who were fired. But I do want to say, I want you guys to, I don't even know what you can research or Google, but you can Google the images, maybe search Twitter. But there's images of when they wanted the states to reopen of, no offense, but a lot of white males with full, I don't even know guns, but they look like assault rifles to me. Assault rifles going to the courthouse, going to the governor's homes to force the governors to reopen because of COVID-19 or the pandemic. Even though I know for sure, like the Virginia governor was like, no, we are not ready, we're not opening right away. And then people were trying to protest them and show up with full assault weapons to do harm. I don't know what they were trying to do. And also, not only that, but I just saw a video today where there's a peaceful protest again, and a white male comes in with a bulletproof vest and an assault rifle. And so at that point, and guess what the police did? They didn't tase him, tell him, you know, arrest him, nothing. They said, hey sir, you need to just go ahead and go on home. They talked to him in the video peacefully, and he walked away.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me because it's like, literally, those people could have opened up fire and killed every last one of those protesters, or the governors in their homes with their children and their wives or husbands, whoever. And nothing, the police didn't do anything. Even when they showed up to the courthouse with guns, they didn't do anything.
Part of that is because, this is my opinion on it, part of that is because those type of protesters, they cry wolf. Big burly guys who trying to get a point across, walking with guns. Police don't take them seriously, because the fact of the matter is they know they won't do nothing. The reason that when we protest, police are scared out of their minds is because they know for a fact the history of what we've been through. If we say we're gonna blow your police trooper up, they believe it. Because of the history of it. Now, is it fair? No, but it's like, I mean, that's why I didn't pay attention to it, because I know they were just crying wolf. They were just, I mean, they were protesting, but it wasn't nothing behind it. They wasn't going to use those guns or whatever, you know? And it's not right, but at the same, it's not right, but at the same time, it's like, we put the fear in community leaders and stuff like that because we have power. But that's the point. We have to know how to use it.
Yeah.
We have power, but we have to know how to use it.
Yeah.
So we show up with rifles and guns and stuff like that. Yeah, the police gonna be a little bit apprehensive because we got history behind us. Oh, they'll use the mugs.
Yeah.
You know, it's not right, but that's why when I looked at it, like, they don't, like, their protest is falling on deaf ears because the police are the people, even at the courthouse, they know they're not gonna do nothing. They just crying wolf. They're not like that.
But if black people showed up like that, we'd probably all be dead. Yeah. There's no way. They would instantly probably start shooting us. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I guess more positive in a way. I'm hoping that we keep this energy right after the protests end. We have to demand change by doing that, voting, donating, which we need to, pick where we're gonna donate to, but there's so many different projects that you guys can go donate to on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. There's constant people sharing who you can donate to, so I just encourage everyone to do that if you have it, or just by simply sharing links on your social medias to get that out if you don't. And just again, to all my non-black people who are watching this video, we really need your voices to be our allies. That's what we need from you. If you don't understand, like Lou said, ask, but do your research, to be honest, too. There's a little bit of both. So, but ask, have that open dialogue, just as we should be open to hear the dialogue from non-black people who maybe can eventually be our allies, or who are questioning, or who just need some more dialogue and discussion over it, because it is a hard topic for those of you who have never faced any type of discrimination or judgment, or had to deal with the color of your skin being too dark. So just ask. Again, hopefully you guys please keep praying for us, because soon when you're watching one of our more recent, another video that will come out, will be on the road. And so we are going into those areas. Obviously, I'm married to a black man, and I'm black myself, and we're dark skinned, and you know, I'm not trying to get tear gas because the military told me I need to go move. So I will definitely have a copy of my orders on me, of course, as always, to present and show, like, don't you touch me, because I'm not playing. But I want to say props to our Air Force leaders for posting both of those emails and messages. And even I got an email from my the commander who's over the schools, sent out an email as well today. And I just want to say props to them, because it's hard to lead from the front and discuss challenging things, but that's what we need, you know. And we need to be checking on each other and seeing how we're doing mentally, because honestly, if I can be honest with you guys, I'm just mentally exhausted. And I haven't been answering DMs because I'm trying to out-process and process what we're going through right now. And so just make sure you guys are checking on each other and supporting each other, and just continue. Don't let up. Make your voices heard. Whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, any of the other nationalities or ethnicities and races, it doesn't matter. Use your voice. Speak up.
Vote.
It's wrong, and you need to vote. We as young people too, millennials, we need to vote. We need to stop being like, well, there's not really the better candidate to pick from. Vote. If you don't know your officials, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was like, I don't really care about my Kansas officials, until I realized those are the people who are representing us in, I don't know, politics.
Well, they represent us in, well, the Senate and the Congress, you know. In
Congress.
Yeah. Like,
they get, I think I think the Kansas person who no one could stand because he just kept cutting funding, that he got offered a senator seat, and now I think he's in the Senate. So we need to vote those people out, because they are not representative of us. And so don't just be about it, or don't just talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything from you?
No, just be balanced in your approach. One thing I try to do is I always try to be balanced. I'll never be radical Black Panther, all that, and I'll never be just overtly, well, cops have lives too, and they gotta try to make a home to their families. We get all that, all right? You gotta have a healthy balance. I have great friends. One of my closest friends that I play ball with, he's in Houston. He's a cop in Houston, all right? I have a great cop friend who I developed a relationship with here in Great Falls, Montana. You know, I'll text them. I'll say, man, tell me, just so I know that I'm not being overly, you know, dramatic or just emotional. And they both was like, with this in particular situation, they was like, no, that was wrong. That was just straight up wrong, you know? So try to be balanced in everything you do. If you're gonna post about how rioting and looting is wrong, also post about how there are police out there who are abusing their power, and things of that nature. Because if my cop friends can do it, then you guys can do it too. So you talk about, if my cop friends can be balanced and say, yeah, there are some racist and evil people in the system, then those who are not in the system can do it also. You're not hurting anybody by standing up for what's right.
Yeah.
What's right. And for those who want to talk Bible, we didn't talk Bible today, but don't get it twisted. Jesus was clear on how to handle injustice. He was clear about it. All right, and Jesus was emotional too. He expressed emotions when he went into the temple and saw that they were went between the temple riot and taxing the people and all that. He turned over tables, whooped people. Don't get it twisted. For those of my evangelicals and Bible believing people, Jesus expressed emotions now.
We don't have
don't get it twisted.
Evangelicals on here.
So, but I'm just saying, who they may be watching.
And stop shopping at those companies like Fashion Nova and Pretty Little Thing who profit off of Black culture. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at my Instagram.
So, but
and
just
White Fox Boutique.
Just be balanced in everything you do. Be balanced, and just educate yourself.
Yeah. Okay guys, so we're not gonna plug anything or do any promotionals or anything like that. All the links are below. We're tired. We want change. Everyone's mentally drained. We hope you're doing okay mentally. Take a break from social media when you need to stop, to cleanse your mind from looking at all that. And stay safe out there. Peacefully protest if you like. If you can't, you know what to do. Support, vote, and donate. So we will catch you guys in our next video. and hopefully it will be a little bit more positive.
Oh, it's gonna be more positive because I'm getting drained. So now it's time to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Bye, guys.
See ya.